Hey everyone, it's April 3rd and welcome to episode number 3 of Learn to Yo-Yo. If you're new to the series, definitely go check out the first 2 episodes so you can get all caught up. But if you are coming from episode 2, you're in the right place. And now that we know how to set up our yo-yos and we've been practicing our throw, we're ready to mix things up a little bit and try the next trick. So in this video, we're going to be learning the forward pass, which looks just like this. It's a really cool trick and it's pretty straightforward, but things can get a little bit tricky as we start to try it out ourselves. So in the last trick we learned, which is just the sleeper, it's a regular throw, the first thing that we did was make sure that the yo-yo is set up in our hand correctly and our palm was facing the sky. But with the forward pass, instead of our palm facing the sky, we're actually going to flip our hand over and our palm's going to be facing the ground. From that point, we're just going to hold our arms straight in front of us, just like this, and then we're going to move our hand just down to our side, just like this, so it's straight down our side. From that point, we're just going to move our hand back and let the yo-yo rest there. Now, we want to make sure that the yo-yo doesn't fall over, so we kind of want to keep a little bit of a grip in it, a little bit of a grip on it, but we don't want to grab it too tight. So we want to have a nice loose grip on it with the yo-yo just kind of resting our arm loose behind our back. And from this point, all we're going to do is launch our hand straight forward, and we want to keep our arms straight the whole time. So it's going to look just like this. I'm not going to throw the yo-yo yet. I'm going to keep my light grip on the yo-yo, but all it's going to look like is this. It's really simple, just straightforward. And what's going to happen when we swing our arm out like this is the yo-yo, if we have it gripped light enough, is going to launch out straight forward in front of us. So if we try that once, it might look something like this. And that's the first step of the forward pass. And you can see the yo-yo launched forward, and then it just kind of drops down a little bit. And ultimately what we want it to do is actually come all the way back to our hand right from the throw. So just like we learned in the last video, we're going to take the slip off our finger and rewind the yo-yo. Try this again. And this time, we're going to give it a little bit more power. So just like in the regular throw, when we throw it down and we're practicing and it doesn't come all the way back up to our hand, we knew that we just needed to give the yo-yo a little bit more power in our throw. So we're going to try the same thing this time, but with the forward pass. So if we remember all the steps, instead of your palm facing the sky, we're going to flip our hand over, palms facing the ground. At this point, bring the hand down to the side, keep the arms straight, a little bit back, loosen the grip on the yo-yo, and then we're just going to launch the yo-yo straight forward. So let's give it a little bit more power this time. And that is exactly what I want you guys to practice. So you notice I didn't try to catch the yo-yo yet. All I did was throw straight out and keep my hand right in front of me, just like this. And if we have enough power, the yo-yo is going to come all the way back and hit our hand. Now, one thing we want to make sure to do, or one thing we want to make sure not to do, is move our hand around once it's out in front of us. We want to try to keep it straight, just like this. So that way the yo-yo is going to hit your hand just like that. So as we're throwing it out, if we move our hand or try to grab for the yo-yo, what's going to happen is the yo-yo is going to follow where our hand goes. So if I throw it out, move my hand over to my opposite side, the yo-yo is going to fly toward my opposite side, right? I'll go from this angle so you can see. So when I throw straight forward, I want to keep my hand right here, right out in front. And watch what happens if I move my hand over this way. See how the yo-yo comes back this way? And that's going to make the yo-yo really hard to catch. I know as you're throwing the yo-yo out in front of you, it can tend to be a little bit scary, but as long as you remember to just keep your hand straight out in front of you and don't move it toward your face or move it toward this way toward your body, the yo-yo is just going to come right back to your hand. So make sure to keep your hand straight out in front of you and just practice that a few times. Get it so the yo-yo just keeps hitting your hand. And you might have to stop and rewind it a few times, but that's okay. Remember, it takes a lot of practice. And eventually, you're going to get comfortable, and you might even accidentally catch it like that a few times, but eventually you're going to get comfortable with the yo-yo just coming back, and then you might even be able to get it back to your hand without having to wind it. And then, once you feel comfortable with that motion, what you want to do is actually flip your hand over. But it's really important that you get the timing right on that. So you don't want to flip it out over when you're throwing. That would look something like that, right? That's all out of control. what we want to do is flip our hand over right when the yo-yo starts to come back to us. So we launch the yo-yo out, and right when it's about to come back, right when it hits the end of the string, we flip. I'll try that a couple more times. So just watch the timing of my hand when it's flipping over. You can hear the yo-yo actually hitting the bottom, so you can even kind of listen for it if you want, if you don't quite know what to feel for. Also, if you remember in the last video, the way we set the yo-yo up with the string going over the top of the yo-yo, we want to make sure the same thing is set up for this trick, the forward pass. Even though our hand's going to be flipped over this way, we still want the string to be going over the yo-yo. So here it is going to be going under the yo-yo, but that's because our palm is facing the ground this time. We just want to make sure that the yo-yo is going to roll off, because as we throw the yo-yo this way, it's rolling off from under, so the string needs to be right on top, right? You'll notice that if you have the yo-yo flipped around the wrong way and you go to throw, it's going to feel stuck and it might look something like this, right? See how the yo-yo just got stuck there? That's because the yo-yo's flipped the wrong way. So if you go to throw and you see it does something like that, you can just know string's probably the wrong way, and then you can just flip it around and just check. You can even check with your palm facing the sky. Over the top, perfect, now I flip my hand, right? So every time you practice, you want to keep that in mind, and before you guys know it, you're going to be nailing the forward pass. And that's going to wrap up episode 3 of Learn to Yo-Yo, but before you guys go, I want to share a quick message with you about failure. Now, yo-yoing has taught me a lot about failure, and if you guys have decided to follow along with this series and learn to yo-yo, that means you're trying something new and you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And we know that when we try something new, that doesn't mean we're always going to have success at first, and we might experience a little bit of failure. So with that, I want to encourage you guys to think about failure in a different way. Not think about failure as a bad thing, but instead think about it like this, that every failure is a future success. And if you start to think about it that way, then you don't have to be scared of failing anymore. You don't have to be quite so scared to mess up the things that you try that are new. And instead, when you try something and it doesn't go exactly as planned the first time, you can think every failure is a future success. So that means you try something, it doesn't go how you want, you're one step closer to achieving exactly what it is that you want to achieve. So we can learn something from those failures. Instead of just thinking of it as a bad thing, we can take what we're trying. So let's take the forward pass, for example. We try it, we don't throw it quite hard enough. Oh, I know exactly what to do next time. I'm just going to throw it a little bit harder. That failure is a future success because I just learned something from that. So with that, guys, I want to encourage you to think about every failure being a future success. And with that, keep that in mind while you're practicing. I hope you guys enjoy practicing the forward pass, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you in episode number 4, where we're going to be learning around the world. I'll see you guys then.